Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was, we were able to get some scores at the start and couldn't really stop the attack break by Sydney. And there was a stretch during the third where I think the energy just sort of dropped out. We did a good job defensively. We just kept trying to get on the rim and get some points. It was hard to tick the scoreboard over in the third, and then the fourth pretty much spoke for itself.
Is it a case of maybe that rebound count?
Oh, yeah, it's not great.
Turnovers, different game out there?
Yeah, and again, we talk about the guys with execution on the defense, on the turnovers, especially at the start, and it wasn't, sometimes trying to make passes that weren't there, and so things that can be easily corrected. But yeah, no, unfortunately, even how the effort dropped out at the conclusion of the fourth, we were just getting beaten up on rebounds. They were just costly. The second chance points feels incorrect, and I feel like it is because they had a lot of good looks off effort.
Hold on, Jess. We can't hear you now. Audio's dropped out.
Yeah, just thinking about the press will drop soon. We've got audio, but there's no audio on the Zoom. But yeah, that's right.
Sorry, boys.
No, the camera, I can hear myself.
Yeah, but now the Zoom's
Just
getting
the
out.
Zoom. Audio's good. Just
Do you want to fix the mics?
it's not. It's something to do with the Zoom in, because I can hear. We've got audio from the guys. We just don't. It's Zoom related.
It's like harder. So it was working with wire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But we just continue with
Yeah,
the
okay. Yeah, we'll continue, yeah. Yeah.
Mate, they threw that zone at you, obviously up in Cairns, and it seemed like early on, obviously it helps when Bolt's hitting a couple of threes, but that high-low action where the short corner flash, it seemed like you're kind of dissecting it a little bit. Well, what changed? I mean, did they change it up, or you just didn't attack it the way you really wanted to, sort of, I guess, three quarters basically?
Yeah, they just packed it in more. They packed it in more and pretty much dared us to shoot threes. And that's where we went through the lineup a little bit, just trying to find some rhythm, especially from the perimeter. So, credit to Sydney. They just packed it in, dared us to shoot it, and, they didn't drop.
Big frustration in that third period. You talked about the D. I mean, you held them scoreless. I think it was about a 4-minute period. I mean, was that a big key in the game, did you think?
It was one of the moments in the game, right? It's hard to try and stay motivated with reward when you're getting some great stops. There was a lot of verticality plays at the rim. There was a lot of effort, hustle plays, and then to try and tick the scoreboard over down the other end without much luck, makes it harder, to double down defensively. And, credit to the guys, they did. They kept digging it deep, but yeah, without the ability to tick the scoreboard over, that really hurt us.
Sam, how did it feel out there in that third quarter? Because it felt like you were one of the blokes that could make the best of it out there, and when others were struggling. Can you just talk to me how the game sort of changed just after half time?
I don't know if you noticed, but there was a patch, and it felt like for 5 minutes where it was just fast break after fast break after fast break, and it was chaotic. And I thought we just did a good job of weathering that chaos, but we stopped them from making shots, but we didn't make shots either, so we didn't capitalize on that. So I think as much as we weathered their attack, we didn't utilize ourselves and get out in transition and complete the buckets that we needed to.
How are you guys feeling as a playing group, sort of heading into the new year? Obviously, it's such a tight season. A couple of losses, a couple of wins can go a long way at this time of year. How's the group sort of feeling?
I think we're searching for kind of an answer, and I think we just it's a tough question. I think we need to come together more, and understand that some days you're not going to make shots, some days you're not going to make threes, So we got to come together and fight and do the little things and the effort plays, and if we do that, not just on the court but off the court, we'll be smiling and enjoying things a lot more, because losing isn't fun. I don't know about you, but I don't think anyone likes losing. Like, I'm
sorry, Sam.
I'm not gonna sit here and smile about that score because we just got blown out, you know. And so I think obviously we're holding our heads down, but we got to bounce back. We got a game in 2 days, and we got to figure it out, and we got to come together. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Sorry, Sam. I was just going to ask, mate. Just following up from that, you guys have had some outstanding wins, this year, but obviously some tough losses as well. Is that search for consistency, not just sort of game to game, but within the game? Is that kind of the big key you think moving forward for this group?
I mean, that's what we've been searching for from day dot, right? And we always knew that coming in. The reality was, you're constantly in a stage of rebuild, right? And so with so many fresh faces that we have in this group, it's a matter of managing some expectations, which we weren't sure, obviously, of, how they were going to go about, playing. And so now that we sort of found a bit of consistency, first port of call, right, it's the starting five, we can start to build from that. So we've had a pretty good job, probably coming out better at starts. There's another fact, again, there's been a lot of games. I think come New Year, I think we played more games than anybody else in the competition. We were away for 3 rounds, and there's positives to that because you're constantly playing, which helps build a little bit of consistency and repetition. But then there's a fatigue factor too to that as well. So, you take the positives with the negatives, and this was always what the team was. And, we're still virtually in the hunt for a play-in, which was, the goal, to be competitive and be in that hunt. So, we've got some games coming up that are going to be against some top sides, and we've got some games against teams that are around us, and we control our destiny.
And I think you finished with 16 turnovers, but 10 of them came in the first 15 minutes. And at half-time, the difference on the scoreboard was 9, difference in points from turnovers, 9 for Sydney. So just how did you see that start ball handling wise and the reason for it?
A lot of them off the passes too. And again, I don't want to fault the guys because it was like an unselfish nature, but trying to make a pass that unfortunately wasn't there, and trying to create something that probably required a different angle for that post-entry pass to go in or the high-low action to go in, and all teaching points, right? So, they definitely hurt us because, again, off the back of getting, let's say, a competitive stop, to come down the other end and just sort of give the ball up, makes it like you got to rechange your focus and double down a little bit more defensively, and that's hard to do for 40 minutes.
And just regarding Melbourne on New Year's Eve, you've already beaten them this season on their floor. How do you assess where your team is now compared to where you were going to that first win against the ladder leaders?
Yeah, pretty much in a similar position. Again, probably a little bit more experimental then than where we are at now. But again, we're talking about a flight back and recovery taking precedence and what we need to get done in the next 24 hours. It's a sellout crowd is what I've heard for New Year's Eve game, and we owe the crowd a good one because we dropped the ball a couple of times with that. So like every other game, we present ourselves as the underdogs, knowing that we have to compete for 40 minutes and that we need everybody to play their role and play their part. And that'll be the same requirement going into this one.
What's impressed you most about this Sam's growth over the season, especially recently where it seems to be really, really comfortable more consistently?
Yeah, I think, again, when we talk about expectations at the start, probably unfairly, I think we all sort of fed off each other with putting too much burden on Sam's shoulders early on, because the reality is he's still a rookie, right? And so between myself, Sam and Marquise, we really wanted to get out the gates running, and it was probably unfair to an extent. And so the great thing about Sam was, there was a change up in the lineup. There was even some games where, he had a short rotation where he played 3 or 4 minutes off the bench. The coolest thing was he stayed locked in. He still showed up 7:30 in the morning to do his extras before practice. He still, stayed locked into the video and the scout, and he didn't sulk, right? He took the reduced role during that stretch on the chin and got better from it and reassessed his focus and put more emphasis in areas that he can control, which, for example, is the rebounding side of things. And he's come out the other end better for it. And so there's a real growth in that for a guy to come in and say, hey, you're gonna be a key rotation player to lose those responsibilities for however many games it was. but then to come out the other end better for it. And I think that's a real testament to his character and his work ethic and his professionalism.
Sam, was there any sort of thought that you might drop out completely when you on that sort of dip of that growth? We know development's not linear, but how did you keep your confidence when you went through those downs, knowing that the up was coming?
It's a good question. Like, no, I don't think you should ever think like that. I guess it's kind of like in the scenario of, first of all, you just got to keep doing what you do and work. You know, like, it's an infinite game. If you quit, you only quit. It's just like stop working. So you gotta trust the process and just keep working and be ready and stay locked in and stay confident. Understand your ability and what you can do, and when the time kind of comes up, just be ready. I think everyone's got their own way of doing it, but that's how I work, and I'll just keep working. I'll keep getting better and control what I can control, and what I can't control, you can't sulk on that. You can't dwell on that. You just got to keep moving forward.
Beautiful.
Mike, you're up, bro.
And I think that covered everything. We can let him go.
Beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.